On the ancient continent of Elder, the vampiric empire that once ruled the night fell apart due to the tyranny of Empress Aurelia, and the once noble vampires became scattered remnants, hiding from the world. 20 years later, the fierce and robust Ice Wolf Empire rose quickly in the north, becoming the new dominant power of the continent. Meanwhile, the defeated Southern Human Empire, just trying to cling to survival, was forced to send their weakest, least favored Princess Cecilia as a prisoner tribute. No one knew that, at this very moment, inside this frail body, the vampire tyrant who once made the entire continent tremble was awakening.
The birds sent from the south really jump well.
She thought of herself as a lamb about to be slaughtered, hiding her claws and pretending to be a gentle white rabbit. Little did she know, the moment she started dancing, that familiar and noble dance and the rose-cold fragrance that seeped into her bones pierced the Wolf King's soul in an instant. The god he had been waiting for 420 years had truly come back.
What's your name?
Your Majesty, my name is Ishalia.
Aishania. From today onwards, you'll stay in my chambers as my personal maid-slave.
Our bravest soldiers charged through the Southern Empire's arrow showers just yesterday. Yet today the Emperor's letting a human captive tend to him in his private chambers? It's an insult to all the men who died. This woman has no right to set foot in those quarters at all!
Your Majesty, the temple doesn't agree either. If you need someone to wait on you, we've got plenty of tough she-wolf warriors from the northern wastes. As for this human, she's nothing but dead weight.
No slave camps, no whippings. The cruel and ruthless Wolf King from the rumors replaced the cold, biting iron chains with the softest velvet. Ashelia obediently lowered her head, hindering the cold sneer flickering in her eyes.
Ashelia, stay here. No one in the castle can touch you. Except me.
Thank you for your kindness, Master.
Loken's softness toward me during the day did shake me. But it doesn't erase all the blood feuds between our vampire clans. I crept up quietly, raised my dagger high, and drove it down with all my strength, but I'd miscalculated everything. This Wolf King survived countless battles. His instincts are sharper than any wild beast's. His palm burned hot, sending a numb shock up my wrists. When he rolled over and pinned me down, it felt like an entire mountain crashing on top of me.
Stab me right here, Ashelia. Silver does hurt our kind. But don't shake your hand.
Let go of me, you maniac!
That's an old grudge buried deep under ice and snow. Back then, I was untouchable. Get out. Survive, little wolf. And that little kindness I gave him was nothing to me. I forgot about it right away. But to that wolf cub, who could have died in the blizzard any day, I was his only god. He branded my mark into his own flesh, suffering through the pain for 20 years. Now I could hear the wolf guards outside growing wary. I still clutched that pure silver dagger. If they burst in, I'd be dead for sure. But Loken didn't hand me over. His broad frame stood like a solid wall, blocking all light and pressing me tight against his chest to hide me.
Your Majesty, we heard a heavy crash from inside the chambers. Could there be an assassin? Shall we come in to search?
Get out. Who gave you permission to even glance at my bed without my leave? Out! And shut the door behind you.
Loken, are you out of your mind? I'm holding a silver dagger that could kill you. You covered for me. If the High Lords find out, you'll lose your throne.
I told you, no one in this castle touch you but me. Aishala, be good. I don't want to see that dagger again.
Diana's been proud for 20 long years. She fought and bled beside Loken on the battlefield, yet never once got to touch even his fingertips. But now here Loken was, tending my wounds himself. Diana's sharp as a tack. When she spotted the bruise on my wrist from his grip, suspicion flared up in her instantly like a flame. She knew I wasn't some helpless lamb to be trampled. She thought I was pretending to be weak to manipulate the Wolf King. Truth is, I just went with the flow. Watching Loken's eyes turn red with guilt left me tangled up inside, with feelings I couldn't name.
Bite me if it hurts. Don't hold back the pain. Ashania, I won't grip you that hard from now on.
Loken! She's tricking you! This human. She's just playing the victim to manipulate you.
Daughter of the High Lord, have you forgotten all basic manners and rules for entering my chambers? Put down those documents and get out. Don't set foot here again unless I send for you.
Pour the tea, lowly human.
Diana signed me to serve the tea party on purpose, hoping hard labor would make me lose my temper, so she could humiliate me in front of everyone. But these upstart wolf folk have no clue. Elegance runs deep in every vampire queen's blood. I smiled faintly, lifting the teapot with one hand. Every bow, every gentle lift a skirt carried the grace I'd possessed lifetimes ago, serving my subjects back in the vampire empire. The noble ladies waiting to mock me slowly lost their sneers, stunned admiration plain on their faces.
God, this demeanor. She carries herself more like a true queen than her grace the Duchess.
Diana secretly made a deadly poison that's harmless to werewolves, but will kill any human instantly, planning to get rid of me for good.
Diana thought demoting me to a servant meant she could bully me however she wanted.
But she underestimated how obsessed Losen is with me. The second her whip swung down, Losen stormed in. His tall frame was like a mountain, shielding me from all scorn and harm. He gripped my hand tight enough to hurt, yet for the first time in this cold castle, I felt safe enough to drop all my masks.
Loken! I didn't mean to!
Diana, this is my final warning. Ashelia is mine. She only serves me, and she only takes orders from me.
Tomorrow, put on your finest gown and accompany me to the winter solstice feast.
Loken sent piles of dazzling gowns, but I'm no longer the queen who craved luxury. I picked the plainest without a second thought. Late at night, I snuck out of the side chamber to map out the castle's defenses for my escape later. Unexpectedly, I ran into Diana around the corridor bend. The vials in her hand glowed icy blue, deadly poison for any human. She snarled my name, plotting to make sure I'd never leave tomorrow's feast alive.
This poison won't hurt werewolves, but any human who touches it dies instantly. Tomorrow night at the feast, I'll make sure Ashelia never comes back!
I snurred, hidden in the shadows. Diana, since you're so eager to hand me a weapon, I'll play along and give you a nasty surprise in return. Trying to poison me, Diana? I'll turn your trick against you, and give you a terrible gift. Diana slipped deadly poison into the wine. My mortal human body would die for sure if I drank it. So I decided to play her game and offer the poisoned wine to Loken instead. Thank you, Duchess. But this first cup belongs to the great king. Without your grace's protection, Aishanala would have perished somewhere long ago. If it killed him, I'd get my revenge and frame Diana for everything. But I never expected that bastard Loken saw right through my plan. He just smiled helplessly and drank the poisoned wine anyway. He put on such a convincing act. The second he collapsed, all the wolf guards drew their blades and pinned both Diana and me to the ground.
Poison! Who dares assassinate the king at the grand feast?
No! Your Grace! It wasn't me! This lowly maid must have tampered with my wine to frame me!
I put the poison in the wine. Duchess Diana has nothing to do with it.
Guards! Drag this reckless maid out and behead her. As for Ashelia,
Take her back to her chambers. No one is to visit her until the truth comes out.
He knew full well what it was, so why did he drink it anyway? The maid's execution and Loken's cold reality drove Diana completely insane. She blamed everything on me, claiming Loken would marry her if I were gone. Before leaving, she brought pastries she'd spent years making to beg for mercy. Hidden inside them was Moon Goddess's tear, a violent Aphrodelian lethal to werewolves.
Your Grace, I made these with my own hands, spent years learning how. Please, just take a bite, for the sake of what we once had. I shall leave without any grievances after this.
Loken hated her pestering, so he took a bite just to send her away.
I've had enough. Get out right now, and don't let me see you again.
That single bite sent the cold tyrant crashing headfirst into overwhelming lust.
this drug. Damn it.
Moon Goddess Tear awakens a werewolf's primal instincts and tests their self-control to the extreme. Aishila, Diana thought Loken would submit to her and cling to her once the drug kicked in. Ever since Aishila arrived, you haven't spared me a single glace.
Since you're this cold, I had no choice but to use the Loken. Let me take care of you.
Aishila.
But she underestimated him. A werewolf's soul only belongs to its destined mate. He kept calling my name. When Diana drew near, her cheap cloying perfume filled Loken with disgust and rage.
Get off me, you filthy thing! Don't touch me!
Even half delirious, he snapped back to his senses, long enough to slap Diana hard enough to send her crashing into a stone pillar and shattering it. Aishila, he burst through the door, tracking the faint cool scent of roses in the air, and sprinted wildly toward my chambers. The silver wolf crest on her chest. The light in Diana's eyes died completely. For the proud Duchess, losing her honor hurt far more than death itself.
Duchess Diana, you stand guilty of plotting regicide and poisoning the tribute maiden. Effective immediately, your title as the daughter of a High Lord is revoked. Your silver wolf crest shall be shattered. You are stripped of all nobility and exiled at once.
No! Loken Shatterer, my clan crest just for some lowly southern slave!
The night before the spring hunt, the snows of the northern wades bit bitterly cold. Instead of returning to her ferd, Diana sold her soul to darkness. Cloaked in tattered black robes, she sneaked into the last remaining vampire clan. She offered Loken's life as leverage, hoping these immortal fiends would drag both him and me down into ruin. Diana thought her plan flawless. Loken had slain countless vampires on the battlefield. They hated him more than anything. With his whereabouts, the surviving bloodlick would strike without hesitation.
Tomorrow, Loken and that low wench will split off from the main hunting party. This is your perfect chance to kill the Wolf King and get your revenge.
Deal, your grace. We'll take the Wolf King's head.
Yet there was one vital detail she failed to account for. I was once their queen. In my past life, I ruled over them as their queen, but in this life, they seek my death. I drew my bow tight, every arrow piercing a rebel's skull. Loken shifted into a giant wolf, a moving black barrier shielding me from every poisoned blade lunging my way. His fur was soaked through with blood, both his enemies and his own. Mid-battle, the packed snow at the cliff edge caved in underfoot. A dying assassin slashed my saddle reins with his claw. I was thrown clear, plummeting toward the endless abyss below. The wind and snow raged fiercely, yet his embrace burned like fire.
Pitbull! Hold on to me!
We plummeted down like a boulder. He used his massive wolf body and back to absorb every brutal blow against the jagged rocks. I heard bones crack, and low, muffled grunts of agony rumble in his throat. Loken, you fool. You knew full well was the assassin sent to take your life, so why fall to your death alongside me? Snow slowly buried the bloodstains at the bottom of the ravine.
Back at the castle, the High Lord raised his golden cup in triumph.
My hands were raw from the rope, and I shook non-stop from the bitter cold. Still, I didn't let go and dragged him into this rundown cabin. Blood kept pouring out of his wounds. Without stopping the bleeding soon, he wouldn't make it through the night. I tore the hem of my gown into crude bandages and wiped the blood off his body bit by bit. Seeing the mighty Wolf King reduced to this state just to save me twisted my heart painfully. His hand burned hot, and he mumbled my name from my past life in his unconscious state.
Ray, I'm sorry. I'm too late. I couldn't save you.
At that moment, my mind went completely blank.
Loken, do you even know what you're saying? How do you know that name?
In that instant, every mask, every game, and pretense between us burned to ash in the dravy little cabin's fire. After 20 years, the secret could no longer stay hidden tonight. He was my little wolf cub. But how did he know my name? The secret was laid bare at last. The little wolf cub I fed blood to in the snow 20 years ago, and the tyrant before me, who offered me his throne, and took every jagged rock of the ravine upon his own body, blended into one single person in that moment. I clenched my fists, my voice trembling, and asked why he'd called me that name. He only smiled faintly. He handed me the secret orders proving the High Lord colluded with vampire rebels and secretly raised troops to stage a coup that would wipe out my people. It turned out he was never the real villain. Back then, he'd been far too weak. All these years, he'd been gathering proof for me.
Aurelia, I recognized you the very first day. You were forced to dance in the Great Hall. I've been dying to tell you.
I never betrayed you, not once!
I believe you. I thought I was a ghost come to claim his life. Little did I know this enemy I'd hated for 20 years had spent 2 decades guarding my memory and shielding me within these cold castle walls. At that moment, all the ice in my heart crumbled away completely. High Lord. Now it's time we head back to the castle and settle every score. The folks back at the castle were busy celebrating with champagne. The High Lord and Diana thought Lornan had died in the ravine, so they wasted no time announcing the king's death and staging a forced treasonous plant on the map for me. Diana, High Lord, every debt you owe my vampire clan and Loken. It's time we return to the castle to settle it all. We snuck to the castle outskirts via a secret passage. The High Lord announced to everyone inside that Loken and I must have died falling down the ravine. They were busy dividing up territories, unaware the elite Black Wolf assassin Loken secretly trained, who took orders from no Elder Council, had already gathered in the wilds. Loken was no reckless tyrant. He planned an escape route for every single step he took. He'd let the High Lord trap himself with his own schemes. He would land the fatal blow when the High Lord was at his most triumphant and careless. and I decided I'd make the first move. Head-on confrontation isn't how smart people fight. I told Loken I needed him to play the hunter. I'd be the spear. Alone, I'd storm his coronation ceremony and lay out irrefutable proof of his alliance with humans before every lord, destroying his family's honor completely. The High Lord thinks he's bought off the entire court with gold. We'll see who still dares stand with him once evidence of his treason is thrown right in his face.
Aurelia, the Great Hall is full of the High Lord's loyal followers. If anything goes wrong...
Loken, don't forget. 20 years ago, it was I who commanded armies in this very hall.
Just wait for the perfect moment with your elite troops and burst those doors open!
As I pushed the door open and stepped inside, the hall went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Diana's face turned deathly pain. She'd thought I'd been torn apart by beasts at the bottom of the ravine, nothing but bones by now. But here I was, back again, walking boldly into the hall alone beneath the stunned stares of the High Lord and his daughter. I held my head high and tossed hard proof of his treason, trading our lands and colluding with humans onto the altar for every wolf lord to see. I'd sentence him to death right in front of everyone.
High Lord! You colluded with the human empire in the south to carve up the northern west. You're the real traitor.
So, I control the entire court now.
You're just a lowly slave. Who's going to believe you?
Assassins and swords surrounded me in an instant. They thought I'd walked straight into a trap all by myself, but I only stared coldly at the High Lord, not even blinking. My part was done. I'd forced him to admit his plot to seize the throne right here in this hall. And outside, the heavy bronze-cold armor crushing black ice boomed out, like thunder splitting the air. I smiled as the massive doors shattered. The High Lord thought he held the whole castle in his grasp, dreaming of crowning himself. Certain Loken had perished down the ravine. But he forgot every black stone of this fortress was laid with Loken's blood. Loken stepped in gripping a heavy greatsword, his steel armor glinting frigidly. The assassins who'd just pointed blades at me trembled so hard under the Wolf King's aura they could barely hold their weapons. The game was over. Loken fixed his gaze on the High Lord, looking at him as if he were already a corpse.
No! Loken, you're alive? My private guards! Strike them down at once!
High Lord, this is the perfect moment you've been waiting for. Black Wolf guards, purge the court.
The warriors Loken led in were loyal men he'd secretly trained for 5 years. Cold and deadly efficient, they were like reapers emerging from the dark. The High Lord's personal guards were no sturdier than paper cutouts against them. Screams and the clatter of swords echoed through the hall, staining Diana's white silk gown red with blood. Diana crumbled to the ground, sobbing, while the High Lord stumbled backward behind the throne, his face drained of all color. Their grand Usemtion ceremony had turned into a feast of death for them. That old fox had kept an escape plan after all. He crushed a secret teleport rune. The Wolf King's greatsword struck a split second too late. Enveloped in a foul black mist, the High Lord fled in utter disgrace, abandoning his daughter Diana without a second thought. Diana sat on the floor screaming hysterically. Driven half-mad, the rebellion was crushed. Loken walked over to me with his blooded greatsword in hand. He gently lifted the collar around my neck with his stained fingertips.
The High Lord colluded with the Southern Empire and poisoned me. A nationwide manhunt is issued for him, effective immediately. As for Etheria, she shall be my one and only queen.
The High Lord may have fled, but the castle's troubles are far from over.
Your Majesty! This violates the Wolf God's laws! She is a human and a prisoner of war! The temple will never recognize her as queen!
That old fool of a high priest clung stubbornly to the Wolf God's bloodline prejudice. To them, crowning me a human prisoner of war as queen was nothing short of defiling their noble bloodline. Loken tightened his grip on his sword hilt, his dark golden eyes flaring rims and once more ready to settle matters with the temple by force. But I held him back. Against these rigid Brigade zealots, brute force would only let them martyr themselves for their so-called god. I'll use their own rules to shut their mouths for good. The high priest deluded himself into holding the will of the gods. He pointed to the lofty altar, boasting of the eternal sacred flame bestowed personally by the wolf god, unextinguished for 10,000 years. He declared only pure souls cleansed by the sacred flame were worthy of wearing the queen's crown. Any impure soul would be reduced to ashes by the fire. Loken's knuckles creaked with the force of his grip. He wanted to kill the old man and wraith this worthless temple to the ground. I took his hand, cold sweat coating his palms. He was afraid, terrified the white flame would consume me. I looked at him and smiled faintly. I am Aurelia. If I feared a mere flame, I would never have deserved to rule the night all those years ago.
Your Majesty, this is the 10,000-year law of the Wolf God. If she refuses the trial, she will remain a lowly slave for all her days. The sacred flame burns away every lie! High Priest, if you dare force her with divine edicts, I will bathe this grand temple in blood this very day!
Your Majesty, there's no need. High Priest, I accept the trial. If I step out unharmed, will you and the temple kneel before me for all eternity? I didn't flinch. Beneath the gaze of lords and common feeks from across the realm, I climbed the stone steps one slow stride at a time. Loken shouted after me, yet the wind and snow raged too loud, tearing his voice to shreds. The High Priest fully expected me to perish. Little did they know my soul belonged to Aurelia. Frail as this human flesh may be, I have always been Aurelia. Starting this day, this temple shall bow to me forevermore. The sacred flame seared fiercely. The wolf god's fire bore an innate destructive power against all outsiders. I could feel my human flesh screaming, the stench of scorched bone filling my senses.
Aurelia! Move aside! Don't stand in my way! I'll slaughter all you false priests!
Impure souls shall turn to ash. The wolf god is purging her.
Just as I thought I would perish within this weak mortal shell, a whisk of leftover divine blood of the vampire sovereign deep in my heart suddenly awoke and boiled wildly, as though facing its ancient foam. Ancient blood served through every bone in my body. Amid the blazing fire, my pupils shifted into a pure, imposing crimson red. The two opposing forces balanced each other out. The sovereign blood of the vampires devoured and reshaped the wolf god's flame. I glanced down at Loken, wild with panic, and the High Priest feigning prayers below the steps. Beneath their horrified stares, the holy white flame slowly receded from my feet. In its place rose a sacred crimson glow. The sacred fire bloomed into crimson roses, a miracle unseen in 1,000 years. The eternal flame of the ancient wolf bowed its haughty head at last, offering roses of submission to a woman of foreign blood. Guards on the steps dropped their weapons in terror. The High Priest's staff clattered to the ground, and he sank, trembling, to his knees in the snow. Within this great cathedral carved from ice, I looked down upon them all.
The sacred flame has turned into crimson roses. A miracle has descended.
This day, the power of the gods bowed utterly before me.
She is the queen acknowledged by the gods! All hail her royal highness the queen!
You win, my queen.
The townsfolk across the realm chanted my name. The temple's divine authority bowed beneath my black gown. Yet I had no time to savor this hard-won peace. Far beyond the frigid northern fortress, the High Lord, who'd fled like a stray dog, plotted cruel revengeance, handing every escape route of the northern marshes to the greedy southern empire. Defense maps slammed down upon the table. Deep, rumbling war drum-ums of the south echoed low through the snow-covered night. Traitor's vengeance is crueler than any beast. The High Lord sold our defense maps, letting the Southern Empire hold all the advantages. They know every shift pattern of the Wolf Wars and every glacier trap. Northern passes fell one after another. Battle reports came back filled with broken bodies and death tolls. Without defensive edges, the Wolf Army retreated non-stop. Loken couldn't stay idle. He planned to lead the Lac Wolf Guards to hold the last northern line at Falling Horse Valley.
The defense maps have been leaked. That traitor High Lord aims to wipe out the northern marshes. Pass my order, soldiers! March to war with me! We will hold Falling Horse Valley to the last!
But I grabbed his greatsword to stop him. I'm coming with you. The Southern Empire owes my vampire clan everything, and I'll settle all scores, right here, at Falling Horse Valley. They hold our defense maps, so the Southern Empire laid a brutal death trap in Falling Horse Valley. They brought piles of silver weapons, Knowing werewolves heal slowly in bitter cold. Barbed arrows laced with silver poison stuck all over the snow like a thorn-thick trap. Our men fell one after another. Loken's heavy armor was soaked through with blood. He stood in front of me like a trapped beast, white smoke curling from silver burns on his back. He let out a long wolf howl, ready to shield us with his body to buy a retreat.
Loken, you wild mutt! Falling Horse Valley will be your grave today! Loose arrows, slay them all!
Seeing the wolf guards tangled in silver nets, waiting to die in despair, I knew I could hold back no longer. I am Ashelia, and also Aurelia. The High Lord thought selling out the northern marshes would leave Loken and me dead in this valley, but he forgot one thing. The sacred flame of the wolf god fused into my bones during the full moon trial. Yet I am the supreme queen of the vampires. Beneath the blood-red full moon, the divine power of both clans surges wildly in my veins. In this moment, I am the sole godity of the night, with absolute command over everything within Falling Horse Valley.
The wolf god's sacred flame and the vampire sovereign's royal blood have fused perfectly. A miracle! This is the divine prophecy uniting both wolf and vampire kin!
Warriors of the Wolf Clan, victory or ruin lies in this single fight. Follow your queen! Advance only! No retreat!
This is the sovereign vampire's divine empowerment. The crimson moon's glow fuels my kin like nothing else. Where the red rain touches, the gravely wounded black wolf guards are instantly blessed with unbridled ferocity and endless healing. Their muscles swell, all agony fading away. This is no ordinary battle. A goddess bestows upon her warriors primal power no mortal can stand against.
Power surged through me! My wounds don't hurt it anymore! For the Queen! Charge! How is this possible? It's a miracle. What kind of monster is she?
I stand atop the cliff, wind and snow whipping against my leather armor. I am no longer the tyrant of my past life, who ruled subjects only through fear and cruelty. Beasts know no good or evil, yet bound by the Vampire Queen's supreme command. The feral wolf packs move with terrifying discipline. They tear through enemy cavalry across the battlefield, yet draw back their fangs obediently and pass harmlessly beside innocent human civilian cart drivers. Slay only enemy combatants, spare all common folk. Surrender, and you shall live.
Long live the Queen! She spares innocent folk! Long live the Wolf God and the Blood God!
I understand now. To conquer all lands takes more than spears and wolf fangs. It also demands equal mercy from one who holds power.
Our commander is dead! We surrender, beg Her Royal Highness the Queen for mercy!
Traitor, do you have anywhere left to run this time? The battle is over. The High Lord trembles in the snow, blood and froth spilling from his mouth. 20 years ago, he colluded with traitors inside the vampire clan and stabbed me in the back, wounding me deeply. 20 years later, hungry for power, he leaked the northern defense maps and led foreign invaders to trample this land. I stand before him, gripping the greatsword stained with my clansman blood all those years ago, staring coldly down at him. His tears mix with blood and splash onto the snow, but they can never wash away the rivers of blood on his hands.
Oh, Araya! Spare me! Have mercy, flee, for the sake of my long service to the Wolf Clan!
High Lord, you betrayed the land bestowed by the gods.
And plotted to slay your ruler.
You have no right to beg the gods for mercy.
This strike is for my realm. High Lord, go to hell and atone to my people.
The door behind me was double locked by him. Loken, like a beast on the brink of death from thirst, embraced me and pressed me against the desk.
From me again.
Loken, my little wolf cub, you protected me. I'm right here. Don't be afraid.
That night, the wind and snow softened outside the window. Loken wrapped me entirely inside his black wolf fur cloak, as if holding the only treasure in his world. 20 years ago, he could only weep silently amid the ruins of the vampire massacre, watching his goddess fall. 20 years later, he finally shielded his deity with his own shoulders and greatsword. He buried his face in the crook of my neck, a single scalding tear slipping from his eye.
I clawed my way up this frigid throne with every ounce of my strength. Also, I could place the crown into your hands myself one day. Aurelia, I've finally kept you safe.
I know, my little wolf cub. This time, I'll be your queen, and we stand side by side. Once, I destroyed my vampire empire through fear and tyrannical rule. Now, wrapped in Loken's embrace amid the aftermath of war, I have learned how to truly reign. I hereby abolish human slavery. I proclaim that upon this Iceland, blessed jointly by the wolf god and the blood god, humans, vampires, and wolfkin shall all stand equal, share peace, and never endure servantry again. Today marks not only the triumph of the wolfkin, the revival of the vampire clan, but only the liberation of humankind. From this day onward, all three races shall stand equal and share a prosperous age together. The cheers roared like crashing waves from the crowd below. At the moment, those tormented human serfs shouted my name with tear-streaked eyes. A sense of fulfillment I had never known in my past life welled up inside me. Deep within the frigid black coal mines, Diana, deranged and covered head to toe in coal dust, clutched the new proclamation of equality and wailed alone in the darkness.
I was wrong. She is far more worthy of the Queen's throne than I am. I truly was blind to my mistakes.
Three races, one heart. Tomorrow, within the cathedral of frozen mystic ice, the grandest and most sacred dual coronation ceremony in the history of the Northern Realm shall be held. Royal power and divine authority bow beneath our feet at this moment. This is a miracle shared by humankind, vampires and wolfkin alike. The High Priest chants our names aloud. This time, the one presenting the throne offers no heavy chains, but undying loyalty for all lifetimes. Side by side, we sit upon the twin thrones, watching delegates of the three races kneel together beneath the towering cathedral dome. Ice and fire merge as one. The three peoples at last embrace an era of prosperity.
The divine oracle has descended. The eternal rulers of the Northern Realm, King Loken and Queen Auraria, who govern jointly over humans, vampires and wolfkin. Long live the Empire!
Long live the King! Long live the Queen!
You can't run away from me to tonight.